Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Business Connections Live. Great to have your company as always. We're live here on a Monday afternoon and we've got an absolutely cracking show lined up for you today. We're going to be looking at a system, a process that you need to go through when it comes to creating online courses. How do you go about doing that? Is it a way of creating passive income? We've got an absolute expert with us in the studio today. What this guy doesn't know about creating online courses and the process of marketing them isn't worth knowing. It's really looking forward to having him on the show today. Very good to have you with us. It is Michael Brook. Mikey, thank you very much for joining me on the program today.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
Well, I'm really looking forward to this particular program. There are lots of people out there that over the past couple of months have probably been sort of sitting down and creating courses. But there's more to course creation because there is a business behind this, and we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of how you see the business and how you should be creating it, and what kind of processes people just like you should go through. For those that don't know anything, though, first of all, about Mike, just give us a brief summary about you.
Okay, well, very, very briefly, I suppose the start of the story would be 1999 when I left my day job, I suppose. So I had a career in pharmaceuticals for many, many years. And in 1999, I took the leap and set up my own business for the first time, which was a training and development company focused on corporates. So that's where this all started. As a result of that, I made my first online digital course in 2004. I was working with a large blue chip called Pentax, and I was training them all over Europe. And they came to me and said, well, Michael, the training's going really well, but we need follow-up because everybody knows that, training and development is a process, not an event. So we needed to create follow-up, and they left it with me to do that. And I actually didn't know how to do it at the time, but I knew what the solution was. And the solution was clearly to take the program that had become known for across Europe, which was called Advanced Sales Development System, and to put it online. And through a period of doing massive amounts of research, getting all the right kit, I managed to put it online so that that company could access it from all over the world. And that's the result of why I'm here now, helping expert entrepreneurs to create, market and sell their own online digital program.
I would imagine there's a lot of people out there at the moment that would be thinking that it was relatively straightforward and easy to actually create an online training course. And I also get the impression, actually, that because of the kind of tools that are out there to actually create it, as long as you actually get past that first hurdle of starting to create it, then that's it. It's going to be relatively straightforward. And there are, of course, a lot of platforms out there, but I do get the impression sometimes that you can create a great digital experience for your potential clients, your potential customers, and it'll just sit there in the doldrums and nobody will ever know about it. And that seems to be the biggest issue. Is it down to the creating of the course, or is it the marketing of the course?
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of people have created some very good online digital courses, but because they don't know the process of marketing them and selling them, because obviously the two things are different, they are totally invisible. And often people say to me, "Oh, I've created an online course," but they haven't managed to reach a market with that online course, and that is the thing. But there is also a point about how you create an online digital course, because I think the design of an online course is so important, because we do need to give our audience, our students, a good learning experience. And if we just ram a lot of information together and put it on a learning management system and say, there you go, actually that's not good enough. You need to make sure that you design your online course in such a way that they have a great learning experience, because that then means that the course has got flow, it's got logic, and it's memorable and it's sticky, so that people can remember exactly what they went through. And to do that, it needs to have a logical flow. And it's real A to B stuff. It's where are they now and where do you want to take them? What's their present state and what's their desired state? And if we know how to do that sequentially, then you can give your audience a great learning experience. But of course, then once you've done that, you do need to know how to market that course. And ideally, you need to know how to reach a global audience.
Before we get into that then, Mike, let's talk a little bit about some of these platforms. A lot of people are going to turn to these platforms to stick their finger in the water just to test the temperature before they get down to business when it comes to creating these courses. And there are quite a few out there. Of course, the big players are going to be Udemy, it's going to be Teachables, and of course, Kajabi. Just how important is a platform like that for someone who is approaching building their first course for the first time? How important are these different platforms?
I've used most of the platforms out there. I've been doing this a long time, so I have used most of the platforms out there. But to me, Kajabi works and works well. And there's a reason why some of the biggest online course creators in the world use Kajabi, and that is because it's stable, it's robust, and also it's a one-stop marketing hub. You can do so much more than just host your content on Kajabi. So no, I do use those systems, and we particularly use Kajabi.
Now, we're going to be talking about a particular framework when it comes to turning that course creation into a profitable business. Now, by the way, if you have any questions for Mike, if you're watching this right now on LinkedIn, please do leave your questions next to the video. Also, if you're on Facebook or if you're on any of the social media platforms where you're watching this video, please do leave your questions and we'll let Mike get back to you. And that really is important because this is all about being interactive here on Business Connections Live. Right then, that's a system that we're going to be talking about. It's what you call the ATS system or the ATS framework, isn't it? Just what is it? Shall I use the slide initially just so that people can understand what you're talking about, or would it be better for you to describe it first?
Just describe it briefly and then we can show the slides and put some detail into it. So the ATS framework is not, I mean, my online program is called the Total Online Course Blueprint, and it's a one-stop how to create, market and sell your own online digital course. But the ATS framework is not the blueprint, but it's the thing that drives the blueprint. And it's the thing that can drive any online digital business. And in fact, if you don't have the three key elements that are in the ATS framework, then there is a very good chance that your online course, your online business, because I don't think of these as just online courses. I think of these as online digital assets that we can reach a global market with. And that means that we've actually got an online business. And so the ATS framework has got three elements to it. First of all, we need to create assets, and there's a number of different assets that we need to create. The next thing that we need to be able to do is to build trust. We need to build trust with our perfect prospect so that they know who we are, they know what they can expect from us, they know what we stand for, they know what we stand against, and they know what they can expect from themselves once they start engaging with us. And that whole know, like, and trust element is really important. And the next part of the ATS framework is to develop systems. And if we don't have systems that can drive our business in an automated way, then we're not going to be able to reach a global market, and the business will always be very manual and hard to manage.
Okay, then let's have a look at that slide then. Assets, trust, and system. They are the three main components that you've just talked about. Let's have a look at the slide, because this is the process that you work to, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is, this is the formula that literally drives an online digital business. And without any one of these elements, you're going to really struggle. So if we walk through these, because I know, Steve, if your sound is a bit playful at the moment, I'll take the initiative and walk our listeners through the ATS system. And you can see there it starts with assets. And of course, your online course is one of the most important assets that you can have, because without an online course, you don't have anything to sell. And I see so many people going through all sorts of trainings. They go through marketing trainings, they go through social media trainings, they go, so many trainings out there that I'm not saying are not valuable, because they are. And I've been through many of those trainings myself. But unless you have got something to sell, a lot of it is in vain. So the first online asset that we need to create is our online digital course. And that's, that is so, so important. And everything else without that, it just doesn't work, does it, if you don't have anything to sell?
So would you say then, when a lot of people are creating their particular courses, I suppose, does it have to be absolutely original? Does it have to be completely new? Or is it a case of repackaging the content and the knowledge that they already have, that they've already acquired? Because I suppose nothing's new out there. Is it a case of just putting it in today's language?
Well, actually, that's a really good point, because one of the things I teach my students is to do research on the potential of their online digital course. And of course, one of the first things that we need to look at in terms of doing research to see its potential is, has anybody else done this before? Because if nobody has put out anything similar to what you're thinking of putting a course out for, there's a very good chance there isn't a market for it. So in actual fact, no, there's very little out there that is brand new and totally original. And if there isn't anything out there that is similar, has your course got legs? And there's a chance that if there isn't, it might not have.
Now, that really is very interesting. So check to see if similar courses are being produced. But say there are lots of courses on your topic. Are you wasting your time producing your course?
Obviously, if it's absolutely saturated, well, then you've got to ask yourself the question, what is your unique take on that topic? And I think, if you can find a unique take on that topic, then it's definitely got legs and you probably have a successful business. So, you don't want to copy anybody else's work. That's really not what you want to be doing. But, it is useful to know that there's some interest in that field, and then that you can take it and put your spin on it. Look, there are other people throughout the world that teach other people how to create online digital courses. And little old me here sat in the UK gets more than his fair share of that marketplace. So, it's not that, we've done what other people are doing. In fact, we've got completely unique systems in our total online course blueprint. But that's not to say that other people haven't created courses that teach people how to create online courses. And in fact, if you look at my testimonial page, one of my students, Katie, she's on the Gold Coast down there in Australia, and she starts her testimonial by saying, I've actually bought 2 other programs before to teach me how to create online digital courses, and I couldn't make them work. So there's nothing to stop you improving on what's out there, or giving what you want to create a course a unique spin.
I suppose there's always this worry when you're buying a course and what you're actually doing is like the old gold rush days. The people that make all the money in the big gold rush, of course, are the people that are selling the tools. And there is always this worry sometimes that it's going to be very much the case that when you're creating your course, you can go to all these different people, you can talk to all these different companies, you can download all these courses, but in fact, the only person you're making rich is going to be them, and it just won't happen for you. Is that a good assessment, or is it because people will buy those courses, put them under the bed in a kind of digital way and say, one day I'm going to do that. That's my future?
Well, that's another really good point. Now, let's be clear. Nobody wants to buy an online digital course.
What?
Nobody wants to buy an online course. What people want is a solution to their pain and their problem. So if you make it totally clear that you are solving a problem and that people buy your course because they know they have that pain, which are the symptoms that they're experiencing right now, and that pain is caused by a problem, and that you have a solution for that problem, then there is a very good chance that people will buy your course for the right reasons, go through that program diligently, and solve their problem and fix their business and fix their pain, whatever that is. So, what we need to do is we need to pitch it properly. Because, we need to help, and, one of the things that the ATS framework does is helps our perfect prospect understand that they do have a pain and that is a problem, and we can help them bridge that pain problem gap. Because what we need to do is make them problem aware so that they know that they do have a problem and what that problem is. Then solution aware, that there is a solution for it, and then aware that you have the solution to their problem. So it's in 3 phases. But something else that I need to say at this point is that I think the days of creating an online digital course and flogging it are gone. What we need to do is we need to create premium, meaning quality, online digital courses that are designed at least 4 levels of structure. So it's structured, sequenced, and systematized. So the actual course in itself works. But then on top of that, we need to provide a community, and we need to provide additional support. Because people who buy your course that are serious about this need to get through that course and come out the other end with a resolution. And to do that, we need to help them. We need to support them.
And that's what you do, isn't it, Mike? I mean, I know when we were talking before the program, you said to me that what you do is that you will have a bi-weekly or a weekly meeting with the people who are on your courses. Do you think that's the thing that makes your courses different from some of the others that are out there?
I think it's the thing that makes my program work, because I give access to my students 365 days of the year through email. So my philosophy is this is a no guess zone. I don't want anybody guessing. I don't want anybody wondering. I want everybody with a level of certainty knowing what to do. So I give them access to me 365 days via email. And I also run 2 mastermind calls every single week. So we have one on a Tuesday early in the morning, and we have one on a Wednesday late in the afternoon, so that everybody gets the chance of attending at least one of those mastermind calls each week. And most people, to be fair, attend both. And these are mastermind calls where they get a chance to get their questions answered, they get coaching, they get support, they get additional training, and of course, they get held a little bit to account.
All right then, Mike, remember that thought. More from Michael in just a few moments' time. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is Michael Brook, and we're talking about all things when it comes to profitable courses, the way to run a course online. Okay, let's go back a week now, shall we? And look at what happened on last week's program. We had a fantastic show. Alison Hale joined me on the show last week. We were talking about how to price your online and your consulting business. Particularly as we come out of COVID-19, it really is important that we get our pricing right. With the key takeaways from last week's program, here's Alison Hale.
I'm Alison Hale from Oxford Professional Consulting.com, and the company name is Oxford Professional Consulting. I'm the CEO, a founder, and an executive business coach. And I have been talking about pricing, and I've been talking about mindset, how important your mindset is for your confidence, self-belief, and your ability to actually be convincing when talking to potential clients. I've talked about the importance of knowing your strengths and being aware of the outcomes that you help people create, because that is what you're going to be basing your pricing on. It's not on what the market is doing, it's on what you know you are worth. And that's what I'd like to leave you with. Keep a strong mindset, catch negative thoughts, and base your pricing on what you are worth.
Alison Hale on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. Fantastic program. Don't forget, if you go to our website, you can check out all the programs that are on our website there. There's over 400 hours of great programs, over 300 individual programs that'll give you advice on how to run your business and be more successful. And if you want to get in touch with us here, we do all sorts of things. We could do an interview just like this one with us. All you got to do is drop us an email to this address. It is studio@businessconnectionslive.com. Or if you wish, you can always pick the phone up. Give us a call on 01784 256 777. You can follow our stream of consciousness here at BCL Business TV. You can also watch us on all the social media platforms as well, including LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube too. And if you just want to get in touch, want to see what we're all about, see more about what Business Connections Live can do for your organization and for your business profile, then why don't you go to this website, businessconnectionslive.com. You're watching Business Connections Live. My guest on today's show is Michael Brook, and we're talking about all things when it comes to course creation and other things as well. We've been looking at his ATS system, a fascinating framework for you to design and build your business around your training courses. Michael, you said earlier on that the way your courses work is that it isn't a case of just somebody paying you money and then running away and taking your course. What you see the modern day course structure should be is that somebody invests into your course, and then actually what happens is it's a two-way process. They give you money, you give them the course, but you also give them ongoing support. Is this a little bit like buying into a mentoring system, do you think?
Well, actually, it's very interesting that you had that lady on talking about pricing and about because one of the questions I get asked the most is how much could I charge for my online course, or how much should I charge for my online course? And we have, as part of the Total Online Course Blueprint, we have what we call our pro pricing model, which helps people to understand how much they should or could charge for their online digital course. And I'll walk you through that. Now, the first thing is how much, so this is on an axis, you can imagine this on an axis, how much pain are they in? So how much of a pain have they got currently? And how big of a transformation will your online course create in their business or in their life? So obviously, the more pain that they've got and the bigger the transformation, the more you can charge for your course. But there are two additional elements to that as well. First of all, the obvious one, is it a B2B or a B2C training program? Because obviously, if you're teaching people how to knit, you're probably not going to be able to charge as much as if you're teaching people how to become a better coach. But you know, the other fact of that is if you are teaching people how to knit or indeed play guitar or something like that, you're probably going to sell an awful lot more of your program. Now, the other element that I always put into the equation is how much additional support are you going to give your students in order to help them succeed? So if you are going to provide, you know, I think of a premium online digital program as something that solves a big problem, creates a massive transformation, and also you provide additional support. Because what people are really looking for right now is a sense of community. And if you can provide a sense of community and you can provide additional support, then you're going to be able to charge an awful lot more for your program, because it's that additional support that gets people over the line. And that's what we want. We want people to succeed. We don't want people just buying our courses and them sitting on a hard drive somewhere. We want actually people to succeed.
So do you think that applies then to all courses, both expensive and budget courses as well? Because I suppose a lot of people can be really worried that the danger that they're going to find themselves in is that they're going to have a low value course, but it's going to take high maintenance to look after the huge customer base that they develop and they build. I mean, is it going to be the same for an expensive course as it is for a cheaper course?
Of course, yeah. I mean, if you have a very low priced course, and it serves a lot of people, well, there's no reason why you can't just put that course out and provide some additional support, like a Facebook group, a way that they can ask questions via email, something that is not too onerous in terms of giving support. That's for sure. I mean, it might be that you run a live webinar or you do a Facebook Live every month. Well, that would be providing additional support. It would also be providing a sense of community, but it wouldn't be particularly too time consuming for you as a course creator. And then, of course, if you want to create a premium online course where you can charge a premium price and you have people all over the world succeeding with your methods, well, then maybe you should be putting a little bit more effort in.
If you're thinking about this for the first time, it sounds more like what you're offering now is mentoring that comes with an online course.
It absolutely is, yeah. And I think most of my students would say that to you. Because what's interesting is I have these two mastermind calls every week. Students write and apologize if they can't attend. That's their level of commitment to the group. And, I am so proud of the people in my mastermind group. They inspire me. They are, these people are tremendous people that have got, projects that are going to change the world. These are, some of these projects will change the world. They're amazing people, and they, as I say, they inspire me, and I'm so proud of them and thankful to them as well.
Okay, then let's talk a little bit about course creation. Some of the fundamentals of this: how long should a course be? How much should the course actually cost? What should be included in the cost? All these kind of things. I know when I spent a day with you, and it was a revelation the day I spent with you, and I know you like doing mind mapping and you do all that kind of stuff. And it was a fascinating day. And I know it sounds a bit like an endorsement for you, and it is, I suppose. But there are going to be a lot of people out there who will be feeling that they've got a little bit of knowledge, and maybe it's knowledge that they're adding on to what other people already know, or they're repackaging existing knowledge and they're putting their own perspective on it. So where do you start then when you start creating your course? Okay,
well, what's interesting, Steve, is one of the things that I've got two, and we'll come back to talk about signature lead magnets in a moment when we get back to the ATS framework. But I have two signature lead magnets. One is a live webinar that I run every single week. And the other one is a 5-day online course design challenge. And one of the places that we need to start is through the design of our online course. And of course, this is, understanding where your perfect prospect is right now. That's point A. And understanding where they want to get to, which is point B. So that's the first place you start, by thoroughly understanding your perfect prospect, understanding what their pain is, understanding what their problem is, and what's caused that. It's then our job as course creators to create a unique solution to their problem and their pain. And that is where we start working out what is our unique solution that is going to fix their pains and their problems, or improve what they're doing right now. And so it's point A to point B, and then we start layering that. So how are you going to take them from point A to point B? What's the process of taking them from point A to point B? Because that process has to be logical, because they can't just make the leap from point A, from where they are now to where they want to be. This is real escape and arrival stuff. Where do they want to escape from? Where do they want to arrive at? Now, if they could just make one leap, they probably wouldn't need you. So we need to provide a solution. So that solution will probably look like stepping stones or milestones, but in course creation terms, those stepping stones are modules. Now, those modules have to be logical and they have to be sequential to take them from where they are now to where they want to be. That's the first level of structure that we need to focus on. And what I recommend for my students to be able to create these modules and lessons is that they use a piece of software called Trello. Now, Trello's free, it's project management software, and it's absolutely perfect for designing online digital courses.
And you'll find a link to Trello in the description below this particular video. Don't forget, if you've got a question for Michael and you're watching us on LinkedIn at the moment, please do post the question and we'll get it to Michael straight away, and maybe he'll give you an answer as well. Michael, a lot of people worry about the marketing of these. It's all very well having the best course in the whole world, but how do we go about marketing it? And is it still true to say that the money is in the list?
The money's in the list if you've got the right list. It sounds fairly obvious, doesn't it? I mean, I speak to people that have got literally, maybe 100,000 people on a list. But I think you'd be much better off having a list of 4,000 people who were the right people than a list of 300,000 or 400,000 people who you've been collecting for the last 25 years, who have come into your world from all sorts of random places. The money's in your list if you've got the right list. And if you know how to build that list with people who are genuinely interested in you and what you have to offer. And that's where, creating signature lead magnets come in. Now, one of the signature lead magnets that I have is the 5-day online course design challenge. Now, that is a free 5-day training that I run every 2 weeks. Now, I've given you the link to that, Steve, and if anybody on here wants to join the 5-day online course design challenge, it starts today, and you can literally jump on board today. And it takes you step by step through the process of designing an online course. Now, that's one of my lead magnets. And that lead magnet is responsible, well, the two lead magnets combined, and the one that I have, which is an online report for course designers. Those lead magnets are responsible for bringing 800 people each and every month, new people, into my network and therefore onto my list. So when I'm growing my list, I'm growing a list of people who have taken time to either go through a live webinar or go on a 5-day online course design challenge. So I know that those people are definitely interested in what I've got to offer.
So do you think then that those live webinars are the way forward, that a live webinar is the ideal way to market your courses?
I'm a big believer in demonstrating that you can help people by actually helping people. And so what we need to be sure is that the stuff that we're putting out there that is representative of you, representative of your business and what you're offering is high quality and high value. One thing with a lead magnet is you need to look at a lead magnet and ask yourself, could I charge for that? And if the answer is no, I couldn't, or I wouldn't feel comfortable charging for that, well, then the chances are that lead magnet is not very good.
Which is really interesting. When we were talking before, we were talking about Facebook advertising and things like that, but I don't think people really understand the power of lead magnets. I think they sometimes feel that they're being slightly, taken for a bit of a ride if they get a free report or something. There's one company that I've been looking at just recently, quite interested in their product, and their lead magnets that they give away, the amount of information that is given away for free has been exceptional, and the quality of it has been fantastic. Is that also something that we've got to work towards having when it comes to our own products, high quality lead magnets to drive people to our webinars?
Well, I mean, the webinar is a lead magnet. I think, you can put out little lead magnets like checklists, white papers, reports, any number of things that people would want for free. And many of them you see out there are free for a reason, because, there's not been a lot of thought put into it. There's not been a lot of effort put into it. But lead magnets should demonstrate that you can help people by actually helping people. And they should be so good that you could charge good money for them. And you should know that anybody that takes your lead magnet and goes through it properly will get tremendous value out of it. Having a massive list is of no value whatsoever if the people who are on that list are not genuinely interested in who you are and what you do.
PIC, what's that all about then?
Yeah, so PIC is a process. It's a marketing process, and it goes and the ATS framework actually drives this process. So the first thing that we need to do is to ensure that we can pre-frame what we do in the mind of our perfect prospect. So we need to be put, and this is simple stuff that you can do. You can do this with free social media if it's structured properly, where you start putting out information about who you are, what you do, what you stand for, what you stand against, what people can expect from you, and what they can expect from themselves once they engage with you. Now that's you pre-framing yourself in their mind long before they start to properly engage with you. So that's the first step. That's the P. The next thing is we need to start putting out quality information, authority building information, which will indoctrinate them towards you. So that's putting out quality, authority building information that people can consume, that they're happy to consume, and they want to consume, and that can build into your signature lead magnet. And then the next step, once they've started to consume high value stuff and get your lead magnet, is C, to convert them into customers. But the biggest mistake I see course creators making is they create their course, they finish their course, and only then do they approach their perfect prospect and they say, hey, buy my stuff. And they invariably turn around and say, well, I'm not going to buy your stuff because I don't even know who you are. Why would I want to buy your stuff? I don't know you. So that's the importance of pre-framing what you do in the mind of your perfect prospect long before you try and sell them in.
That's very interesting, isn't it? Knowing, liking and trusting somebody. And I suppose that's where all this actually comes from. And that's why somebody ultimately is purchasing the product from you.
Absolutely, yeah. 9 times out of 10, if people, obviously COVID-19 has changed the landscape a little bit in that people are genuinely frightened because they've seen their diaries and order books empty overnight and they're not sure where the next bit of income's going to come from. But, people who've got vision and foresight are actually turning to people like me and asking for help to take their experience and expertise and help them monetize it online, because they've got the vision and they're not feeling so frightened that they're in a state of inertia. So price really doesn't matter if you have created know, like and trust, and you've got a quality product that is going to actually change people's lives.
More from Michael Brook in just a few moments' time here on this edition of Business Connections Live. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of this year. We had Brian Main. He joined me in our main studios here at Business Connections Live, and we were talking about goal mapping, an interesting program, actually. It's a bit like mind mapping, but really more specific about the things that you're trying to achieve in your own personal life. And with the key takeaways from that particular program, here's Brian Main.
Hi, I'm Brian Main. I'm creator of the goal mapping system that uses words and pictures to help activate both sides of your brain. It's a simple technique that helps you to think your best thoughts so that you trigger the chemical release and feel your best feelings. That influences you to take your best actions and you invariably live your best life. You can access all the free materials, both paper-based and online, at my website, goalmapping.com. Try the system for yourself, see what you can achieve. Thank you.
Brian Main on this edition of Business Connections Live, a really great show. And if you want to find out more about Brian and also goal mapping as well, just simply go to our website at businessconnectionslive.com. Michael, interesting program there from Brian talking about the goal setting and goal mapping. Of course, when I met you, you were very heavily into mind mapping to explore the whole ideas around and how to expand the ideas around the different courses that you were developing and you were working on. You mentioned Trello earlier on. Are you still using any of the mind mapping tools at the moment to explore where these courses can go and how to make them bigger and better?
No, it's a process. It starts with brainstorming, then I refine that further with mind mapping. And then once we start to get some real meat on the bones and we start to have something that is starting to look like a process, well, then we switch to Trello because of the flexibility within Trello for organizing your online digital course. So it's a process from brainstorming through mind mapping and then finally into Trello when you finally organizing your modules, your lessons, and your key points.
We talked a lot earlier on about creating the course. Now we're really going to get onto the whole idea of marketing the course, and we've said that people will only buy from somebody if they actually do trust them. Does that mean we've got to now turn more so to social media and to raise our profiles on social media to enable us to get out there, to be trusted, and for people to actually purchase the courses from us?
Absolutely. I mean, if we can switch back to the ATS framework, it's a simple way of explaining all the processes that we need to go through. Because, any one element on its own doesn't work. You need the three elements to run together. So, the process of the framework starts with assets. So we need to create an online course. We need to have something to sell. We then need to create signature lead magnets, which are high value. The signature lead magnet should demonstrate how you can help people actually by helping them. And that then in turn brings a list of people who are genuinely interested in what you do. So they've stuck their hand up and they've said, hey, Michael, hey, Steve, I'm really interested in you. And here's my name and email address. And please, can I have that signature lead magnet? Because I know it can take me to the next level. So that's the first thing we need to do. The next thing that we need to do is we need to pre-frame ourselves in the mind of our perfect prospect. So we need to build that trust. And what course creators, most people forget is that our customers are on a journey. Our customers are on a journey that we call the customer value journey. And the reason why it's a mistake to create your course and then go to market and say, buy my stuff, is because the customer value journey starts with awareness. So we can start building awareness very early on in the process. In fact, the fourth module in the Total Online Course Blueprint is about creating awareness and building on your marketing, on your social media marketing. The next thing that we need to do is we need to start developing authority building messaging. Now, what I always recommend to my students is take 4 key messages from your program and reformulate those 4 messages so you can keep putting those messages out time and time again. You can make videos out of those messages. You can make posts out of those messages. You can make, blog articles out of those messages. But keep those messages sharp. Keep them, down to 4 key messages that people will start to understand who you are, what you stand for. But you will also build authority in your niche. And that is so important, to be able to build authority in your niche. And the way that we build this is by creating a marketing campaign or marketing schedule. So you are constantly getting the right information out to your perfect prospect. And we can even inoculate against limiting beliefs about ourselves or our niche or the state of the world through that messaging. We can call out misbeliefs about things and handle that ahead of time. We inoculate our children against diseases that they might get in the future. Equally, we can handle objections ahead of time by inoculating against them. And then we can also illustrate how they have a pain, which is a symptom, and it's caused by a problem. And once we start getting them to understand what their pain and problem is and where it's come from, well, that's what we call the point of illumination, where people really start to understand that you can help them. And the mechanism behind this is to create systems that will deliver your program to people. So, like, for example, your signature lead magnets are the first part of that system, which are where you create funnels that draw people in to your network. And then you need to be able to also deliver your program and deliver your lead magnets automatically. And then the next system that you need to build in is advertising. And without any one of those things, you will have problems.
Now, before we get onto the advertising, and I know you're a big advocate of advertising, tell us a little bit about lead funnels.
Well, if you first of all, we should clarify that you can actually get an awful lot of traction without paying for advertising. But we do have to understand that if we're going to have a serious business and a serious global reach, advertising is what you're going to have to do. So you do need to get your head around that, because the reason why a lot of people don't advertise is because they see it as a cost, not as an investment. But you can get a lot of traction without paying for advertising. I went for a lot of years without paying for advertising and just using social media to get my messages out there. So that's the first thing we need to do. We need to start getting messages out on social media. Then we need to start getting content out on social media. And then we can start build into lead magnets that people can consume.
Yeah, I can see that. But you're getting your content out there on social media. But what about things like paid advertising? I know for a number of years that is something you didn't do. And you were doing okay, but now you're a big advocate of paid advertising, and you're reaping the rewards, aren't you?
Yeah, I think why a lot of people, what a lot of people do is they're frightened of advertising because they're frightened of the investment, so they play at it, and they'll put one Facebook ad out and they'll spend $10 a week or $10 a day, and they think that they're really pushing it. When in actual fact, what you're doing there is you're not giving Facebook a chance to help you. You literally got a strangled message because you've got one ad running with insufficient funds behind it. So Facebook will try, but it will ultimately probably won't reap the rewards it should.
Earlier on, you talked about credibility and, of course, a lot of people use social media to increase their credibility, and there is a lot of rubbish, a lot of guff out there at the moment on some of the different social media platforms. So how do you manage and raise your credibility to your prospective clients?
Okay, so like for example, I have a lot of calls every day. So we call them clarity calls, discovery calls. I probably have somewhere in the region between 5 and 8 calls each day. So that's quite time consuming. But if somebody comes to me and books a call and they kind of found me on LinkedIn or found me on social media and thought, I like the sound of what he's talking about, I'm going to book a call with him. When we have that call, I will take that call, but it will probably only last 5 minutes. Because what I will do is I will push them back and say, to be fair, you don't know enough about me. You don't know enough about how I work and what I can do for you. So before we have another call, I need you to either go on my live webinar or go on my 5-day challenge, or both. Because I don't want anybody to feel that they're taking a punt on me. I want everybody that signs up for my program and joins my membership program, my mastermind program, I want them to be absolutely 100% certain that they know I can help them. And as I said before, I like to demonstrate how I can help people by helping them. Now, if you've been on my live webinar, or if you've been on my 5-day challenge particularly, there would be no doubt in your mind whether or not you wanted to work with me and whether you would want that help. And the fact that you push people back and say, no, I'm not going to accept you, I'm not going to allow you to join until you've been through one of these two things, gives you massive credibility.
The other thing that I think is really interesting is the way your business has developed and changed. When we first met each other, what you were doing is you were going out and you were doing one and done for people. They would approach you. They would say that they wanted to create a course. And what you would do is you would work with them to create that course. Well, of course, your business now has changed because you are sharing your knowledge with people on how to make the courses. Are you still inviting people to come in to your business where you do this one and done? Are you still making courses for people?
I try not to. It was a very intense way of working to actually produce courses for other people. And I firmly believe, my philosophy is that we shouldn't create one online course. We should create a brand and have a portfolio of online digital courses sat under that brand. Now, of course, if I'm making courses for people and don't teach them how to do it, they've got to constantly come back to me in order to get the next course made. And I would genuinely rather teach people how to fish. And if I can teach them how to fish and support them through the process, then that is how I want to work.
And that truly is the way forward, isn't it? Now, I'm just going down the list to make certain that we've actually covered everything that we wanted to say during the program of the day. One of the things that we did promise was how to create an online course irrespective of COVID-19. And I think we've pretty much covered that, haven't we?
Not really, actually. No, there is something around that I think needs to be covered, because when most expert entrepreneurs go on their own, they adopt a business model which entails exchanging time for money. So so irrespective of COVID-19, this is why expert entrepreneurs, coaches, trainers, consultants should create an online digital course in order to monetize their experience. Because, if you're a coach or a trainer, if you're a consultant, if you go on the speaking circuit, all those things entail exchanging time for money in order to reach your audience. Now, if you create an online digital course, you can make it once and sell it many, many times over. So that's the reason why, irrespective of COVID-19, expert entrepreneurs, solopreneurs should think about how they can take their experience and expertise and create an online digital course.
Michael, is a course ever finished, or is it always work in progress?
Yes, it can be finished. It can be finished. That's not to say that as you gain experience and as the world changes and you learn new stuff, that you're not going to improve on that course that you've created. And in fact, I think it's fair to say that some of the best courses in the world are the result of several iterations of work. The Total Online Course Blueprint is in its third iteration. It gets better every time I find out something new because I incorporate it in it. And when I sell my Total Online Course Blueprint to people, I always tell them it's theirs for life. I'm never going to take it away from them. And they will always get every update or upgrade that I put into it.
Final question then. What would you say to people who are concerned about giving away their industry secrets? You put together one of these training courses, you share all your knowledge, and you are handing it over to everybody else. I mean, would I be right in saying that in many cases, what will actually happen is that people will just not action the material or the information that they are being given?
Well, this is the point, isn't it? There's a difference between education and implementation. So I think of my course as the education. The Total Online Course Blueprint is probably the most comprehensive program out there because it covers how to create it, how to market it, and how to sell it. And yet people still need help with the implementation. And that's the key, isn't it? It's that mentorship that you provide with your course that gets people over the line.
Well, Michael, we've hit the hour, mate. Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolutely fantastic hour. Really, it's just down to you now to give us a summary of the past 60 minutes to tell us the key takeaways from the program. Don't forget to say who you are and where you're from. Michael Brook, the airwaves are all yours.
Hi then, so I'm Michael Brook. My business is called My Expertise Online, and what I do is I help expert entrepreneurs, so coaches, trainers, consultants, speakers, therapists, to take what they know, to take what they do, to take their experience and expertise, and to take that and to create online digital courses so they can reach a global market 24/7. And that really is how I think the world is going to go. Irrespective of COVID-19, I think people are going to want to work more remotely. And so if you are an expert entrepreneur, if you are a coach, a trainer, a consultant, a therapist, a speaker perhaps, taking what you do every day, your experience and expertise, and creating an online digital course is probably the most sensible thing that you can do right now. And if you'd like to find out more about what I do, I think Steve's got links to my live webinar. I run a live webinar every Thursday, and I also run a 5-day online course design challenge. And I'd like to invite each and every one of you that's watching this to join either one or even both of those free services. So the live webinar lasts about an hour and 10 minutes. The 5-day challenge lasts actually 6 days, because I finish it off with a live webinar on the Saturday. And you're invited to join either one of these or both these things.
Once again, Michael, just a fantastic summary, and thank you very much for being on the program. Passing thought, last thing that you would say to somebody, if someone's watched the entire hour and they're thinking to themselves, yes, I want to create a course, I want to get it out there, what would be the last thing that you would say? And what would be that parting piece of advice?
Well, the advice is just do it. Just get started, because the reason why course creators don't take action is because they get overwhelmed. And they get overwhelmed because they map it out and sit back and they look at what they've created and they think, oh my Lord, I'll never be able to put all that into one course. So just get started, map it out simply. Don't try and create the PhD version of what you do. Create the OVC version of what you do, which is the optimal viable course.
Michael, thank you very much indeed. Got a good show next week as well lined up for you. Dexter Moscow is going to be on the program. He's going to be talking about sales, but sales where we use video. That's on next week's program. Once again, Michael, thank you very much indeed for being on the program.
Well, it's my pleasure, Steve. I always enjoy your company. I certainly enjoy coming on Business Connections Live, because it is a real quality program that goes out every single Monday. And if you'll have me back, what I would like to come back and do is talk about how people can create quality, high quality 5-day challenges. Because 5-day challenges can really change the landscape of your business.
And that wraps up this edition of Business Connections Live. We do it all again next Monday. And as I said, Dexter Moscow is going to be my guest on the program. Till I see you next Monday, where we're going to be live right here on Business Connections Live. Have a great week and stay safe out there. Stay alert. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.